Dear students, welcome to KPS Biotutorials. Today I would like to start with a new chapter, that is class Reptilia. You might have studied the superclass Tetrapoda is further classified into many classes. The class Pisces, class Amphibia, class Reptilia, class Aves, and class Mammalia. And today I would like to talk about class Reptilia. Once again, welcome back to today's topic, that is class Reptilia salient features. Let us look at the definition of class Reptilia. The reptiles are cold-blooded, lung-breathing, oviparous tetrapods with a dry skin covered by an exoskeleton of epidermal scales or corneoscutes. The group is now represented by the lizards, snakes, crocodiles, turtles, tortoises, and the lizard-like Sphenodon. This class also includes the extinct dinosaurs. നിങ്ങൾക്കെല്ലാവർക്കും അറിയുന്നതായിരിക്കും റെപ്റ്റൈൽസ്, മലയാളത്തിൽ പറഞ്ഞാൽ ഉരകങ്ങൾ എന്ന് പറയും. They are cold-blooded animals. Cold-blooded means they don't have a constant body temperature. Their body temperature is varying with the atmospheric temperature. Thereby they are called cold-blooded. And they are lung breathing. Their breathing apparatus is lung. They have pulmonary respiration. Then they are oviparous tetrapods. They are egg-laying animals with a dry skin covered by exoskeleton of epidermal scales or corneoscutes. റെപ്റ്റൈൽസിൻ്റെ ബോഡി നോക്കിയാൽ നമുക്കറിയാം, ബോഡി എല്ലാം സ്കെയിൽ കൊണ്ട് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ സ്ക്യൂട്ട്സ് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ സ്പൈൻസ് ഇതുകൊണ്ടൊക്കെ കവർ ചെയ്തിട്ടുള്ള വളരെ ഡ്രൈ ആയിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു സ്കിന്നാണ് റെപ്റ്റൈൽസിൻ്റെ സ്കിൻ എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. ആൻഡ് ദിസ് ഗ്രൂപ്പ് include lizards, snakes, crocodiles, turtles, tortoises, and Sphenodon. Sphenodon is a particular reptile found only in New Zealand. We will study about it in detail in coming chapters. And this class also includes the extinct dinosaurs. Dinosaurs, all of you know what are dinosaurs. They once ruled the entire earth. They belongs to the class Reptilia. Now, what are the salient features or diagnostic features of class Reptilia? As I told, their skin is very dry due to the development of hard and conified epidermis or due to keratinization. Their body, here you can see on the body of lizards, snakes, turtles, tortoises, etc. There will be very hard, dry scales or scutes or certain plates, keratinized plates. So they form exoskeleton, and they have two pairs of pentadactyl limbs. As they are belonging to tetrapods, they have a pair of pentadactyl limbs, and their digits, limbs are with digits. They are tipped with claws. These claws are modified corneoscutes. That means keratinized epidermal structures. These claws are modified corneoscutes or modified scales, and their exoskeleton consists of epidermal scales or plates, scutes, and spines. These four types of epidermal structures may form their exoskeleton. In some cases there may be scales. Sometimes there may be plates like on the carapace of the tortoises or turtles. And sometimes there may be scute or spines. So in all these forms, the epidermal exoskeleton may exist. Among vertebrates, epidermal scales appear first in reptiles as an adaptation to prevent evaporation and loss of water and to become completely terrestrial. So this epidermal exoskeleton is developed as an adaptation for the terrestrial life. The reptiles are evolved from the amphibians. Amphibians can live both in water and terrestrial habitats. But the reptiles, most of them, they are living in terrestrial habitat. So to adapt with the terrestrial habitat, in order to prevent the loss of water, it is believed that this exoskeleton is developed during the course of evolution. Another feature of reptiles are their cutaneous glands are extremely reduced or absent, except in some forms where they were modified for production of smell to attract mates. Cutaneous glands, the glands present in the skin, they are extremely reduced or absent in reptiles. In human beings, in mammals, there is sebaceous glands or sweat glands. Such glands are said to be cutaneous glands. Glands present in the skin are said to be cutaneous glands. Such glands are absent or extremely reduced in the case of reptiles. If they are present, they are modified for production of smell to attract mates. If such cutaneous glands are present in some reptiles, they may be modified into a smell producing glands to attract their mates. That is another feature of reptiles. Then their vertebrae are said to be gastrocendrous because their centrum formed by interventrals and basiventrals being reduced. Such type of centrum is said to be gastrocentrum, and their centrum is procoelous because they are concave anteriorly and convex posteriorly. Let us look at the term gastrocendrous. Gastrocendrous means a particular form of centrum in which they are developed from interventrals. During the development of the centrum may develop from different regions. Sometimes they are developed from the basidorsal or basiventrals or interdorsal or interventral. So in the embryonic stage, when they develop, when the centrum is developed, it may develop from different regions in the notochord. Here in reptiles, their centrum is developed from the interventrals. Thereby they are called gastrocendrous vertebrae. Their vertebrae are with centrum developed from the interventrals. Thereby they are called gastrocendrous vertebrae. In the reptilian vertebrae, the basiventral is reduced. Basiventrals are being reduced. And they are said to be procoelous because the centrum, based on the shape of the centrum, they are divided into different types: procoelous, opisthocoelous, amphicoelous, acoelous, heterocoelous, amphiplatean. All this classification of the centrum is based on their shape. If their anterior side is concave and posterior side is convex, then it is said to be procoelous. If both the sides are concave, then it is called amphicoelous. If anterior side is convex and posterior side is concave, then it is called opisthocoelous. If both sides are flat, then it is called acoelous. In this way, there are different types of centrum. Based on that shape of the centrum, there are different types of vertebrae. If the vertebrae is with a centrum in which anterior side is concave and posterior side is convex, then it is called procoelous centrum. Such a vertebrae with procoelous centrum is called procoelous vertebrae. So in the case of reptiles, vertebrae is of procoelous. And when we examine the skull of the reptiles, skull is said to be monocotyledon because, as the name indicates, it is monocotyledon. There is only a single occipital condyle. What is an occipital condyle? It is a knob in the skull which articulates with the first vertebrae. സ്കള്ളും ഫസ്റ്റ് വെർട്ടിബ്രയും തമ്മിൽ കണക്റ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്ന ഒരു ബോഡി സ്ട്രക്ചറിനെയാണ് ഒസിപിറ്റൽ കോണ്ടൈൽ, ഒരു നോബ് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഒരു പ്രോസസ്സ്, അതാണ് ഒസിപിറ്റൽ കോണ്ടൈൽ എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. അങ്ങനെയുള്ള ഒരു സിംഗിൾ ഒസിപിറ്റൽ കോണ്ടൈലാണ് റെപ്റ്റൈൽസിൻ്റെ സ്കളിലുള്ളത്. അതുകൊണ്ട് അതിനെ മോണോകോണ്ടീലിയൻ സ്കൾ എന്ന് പറയും. ആൻഡ് ദർ ജോ സസ്പെൻഷൻ ഈസ് ഓട്ടോസ്റ്റൈലിക്. ദാറ്റ് മീൻസ് in which the upper jaw is connected directly to the cranium. Their upper jaw is directly connected to cranium. Such type of jaw suspension is said to be autostylic jaw suspension. So in reptiles the skull is monocotyledon type and the jaw suspension is autostylic. Then the next feature of reptiles is their temporal fossae. In reptiles, the temporal fossae are present in the skull. What is a temporal fossae? That is a depression on the temporal region. You know, our skull is divided into frontal region, parietal region and temporal region. In the temporal region of the reptilian skull, there is a depression that is called temporal fossae. So this temporal fossa is present in the skull with the exception of orders Cotylosauria and Chelonia. In these orders, Chelonia and Cotylosauria, these temporal fossae are absent. In all other reptiles, temporal fossae are present. Then their pectoral girdle is characterized by an interclavicle. This is another feature of reptiles. Pectoral girdle. You know what is girdle? A girdle is a part of the skeletal system which connects axial skeleton with the appendicular skeleton. So the animals are generally having, all the tetrapods are having two girdles, a pectoral girdle and pelvic girdle. Pectoral girdle connects the forelimbs with their axial skeleton, whereas the pelvic girdle connects the hind limbs with their axial skeleton. So here the pectoral girdle is characterized by an interclavicle. You know, the pectoral girdle, in our pectoral girdle there are bones like scapula, coracoid and clavicle. But here, apart from these bones, there is another bone, namely interclavicle. So this is a peculiarity of reptiles, presence of interclavicle in the pectoral girdle. Then when we analyze the heart of the reptiles, heart is incompletely four-chambered with the two auricles and a partially divided ventricle. You know, the heart is chambered and the number of chambers is varying in different classes. In fishes, there is two-chambered heart. In amphibians, there is three-chambered heart. When it comes to the reptiles, the heart is incompletely four-chambered. In birds and mammals, the heart is completely four-chambered. Here in reptiles, it is said to be incompletely four-chambered with two auricles and a partially divided ventricle. Here the ventricle is partially divided. There is a septum separating the ventricles, right and left ventricle, but the septum is incompletely formed. Thereby some amount of mixing of blood between this right and left ventricle occur. Thereby it is called incompletely four-chambered. But in crocodiles, they have typically four-chambered hearts. Crocodiles are having a completely four-chambered heart. And truncus arteriosus is practically absent, and the aortic arches take their origin directly and independently from the ventricle. You might have studied about truncus arteriosus in amphibian heart, in frog heart. It is a chamber which collects blood from ventricle and supply the blood to the aortic branches. That chamber is called truncus arteriosus, present in amphibian heart. This truncus arteriosus is practically absent in reptiles because the aortic arches take their origin directly from the ventricles. So there is no need of truncus arteriosus. When we analyze the respiratory system of the reptiles, they are purely pulmonary because they are respiring by lungs. Gills are being absent at any stage of their life cycle. No gills, only lungs are involved in the respiration, so they are said to be pulmonary respiration. Then when we analyze their excretory system, the excretion is through kidney and the kidney is of metanephros. Mesonephric duct disappears in female but it is retained in male as the epididymis. Their kidney is said to be metanephros because metanephros is the advanced type of kidney, and mesonephric kidney means it is a primitive type and it is present in the early embryonic stage. Later it is replaced by an advanced type of kidney, namely metanephros. And this mesonephric duct, which is present in their embryonic stage, will be disappeared in their female, but it will be retained in the form of an epididymis in male. Epididymis is a structure related with their male reproductive system, which is developed from this mesonephric duct, which is a embryonic form of kidney, mesonephric duct, which is replaced by the advanced type of kidney, namely metanephros kidney. So in adults, the functional kidney is said to be metanephric kidney. Then next feature of reptiles, their middle ear contains a structure, namely columella oris. It is a bony or cartilaginous rod connecting the tympanic membrane with the inner ear. It's a bony or cartilaginous structure or a rod which connects the tympanic membrane with the inner ear. Thereby, it transmits sound waves as vibrations from tympanic membrane to the inner ear. So columella oris is a small cartilaginous or bony structure which is used to transmit sound waves as vibrations from tympanic membrane to the inner ear. Tympanic membrane, നമുക്കറിയാം നമ്മുടെ ഇയർ ഡ്രം പോലെയുള്ള സ്ട്രക്ചറാണ് tympanic membrane. Tympanic membrane വൈബ്രേറ്റ് ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ കോളുമല്ല ഓറിസും വൈബ്രേറ്റ് ചെയ്യും. കോളുമല്ല ഓറിസ് ഇന്നർ ഇയറായിട്ട് കണക്റ്റഡ് ആയിരിക്കും. അങ്ങനെയാണ് ഈ സൗണ്ട് വൈബ്രേഷൻസ് ഇന്നർ ഇയറിലേക്ക് ട്രാൻസ്മിറ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. And the last feature of reptiles, their fertilization is internal. The eggs are macrolethal and because it is heavily yolked. Fertilization is internal and eggs are said to be macrolethal. Here there is a spelling mistake. It is said to be macrolethal. It is not T, it is L. Macrolethal. Because macrolethal means heavily yolked. The amount of yolk in the egg will be large. Thereby it is called macrolethal. And it is cladoic. Their egg is shelled. Shelled eggs are called cladoic eggs. And amniot, because the embryo is enclosed within a fluid-filled bag called amnion. So fertilization is internal. That means during copulation, the male and female copulate, and the male transfer its sperm to the cloaca of the female, and the fertilization takes place within the female body. Thereby it is called fertilization is internal. And the egg is macrolethal with heavy yolk and cladoic. The egg is protected by a shell and it is said to be amniot. Embryo is enclosed within a fluid-filled bag called amnion. So this is the general feature about their reproduction, mode of reproduction. So these are the major characteristic features of class Reptilia. I hope all of you understood about the general features of the Reptilia, and I will be coming back with the remaining part of this topic in coming episode. Till then, goodbye to all of you.